My name is Joao PALMA. I work as a researcher in Instituto Superior de Agronomia in Lisbon, in Portugal. And I'm currently an agroforestry modeler. I work with YieldSafe and I work in the project AgForward. And I'm here. Yes, agroforestry is present for a long time. Usually it's the cork oak to make the cork stoppers, and we have also the home oak mostly for grazing pigs. They are very nutritive acorns. And now there's a third species coming in, which is the Pinus pinea. It's doubled from the last inventory, but it's still in the lower areas regarding both Quercus suber and Quercus rotundifolia. But it's quite stable, more or less, the agroforestry area, because it's also forbidden to cut trees, so it has been maintaining the tree levels, tree numbers on the landscape. So it's there, and we just need to promote it a bit more. Yeah, it's to grow a little bit more, yeah, as well. It's forbidden to cut trees, but there is also a perception on farmers usually that without trees it's not even possible to do some kind of agriculture. So they really think it's an important aspect on farming, especially when you have livestock, because you have very hard summers in terms of heat, and it wouldn't be possible to have. Well, it's possible that we have to have a much more infrastructure to deal with livestock in a very hot summer of 40, even 50 degrees in the sun for a cow. So trees are very important, and our farmers that have trees, they are aware of that need, and also for the carbon in soil. Otherwise it would be a very poor soils, but trees are helping on that as well. Myself, well, I'm basically a modeler, so I've tried to deal with mathematical equations to describe all the processes during the agroforestry, which are complex, and try to validate these equations and try to extrapolate to other places which agroforestry doesn't exist. So we cannot make experiments all over the places. It would be too much expensive and too much time consuming. Trees cannot grow to next year. So it's very useful to have models to try to simulate how it would be agroforestry in a different place. And to do that, we need to go to the different places, collect data, validate them, calibrate the models, validate the models, and try to use them in another place, including, of course, nowadays, impact of climate change. How would be then agroforestry existing or non-existing with the current climate or with future climate? So it's all this kind of above ground, below ground, tree-crop interactions, water cycle, nutrient cycle, which is kind of tricky, and all biodiversity, nitrogen leaching, carbon sequestration. I try to mix everything, which is kind of difficult and complex, but it's also challenging, and that's what makes us alive, the challenges. I really need to go to farmers to check what's going on here, what we need to understand, because otherwise we're just in the computer working with something which might not be the reality, and we need to keep the reality in front of us, and farmers are the key persons to be in touch with. I find, for example, farmers that do agroforestry, and they really think that agroforestry is the future, but they also think they are outsiders, and because they earn less money than the intensive farming and the neighbor, but they are usually having much more sustainable farming, but they receive less money from European subsidies than the neighbor. So they are really in a constant conflict between what people think, well, Europeans think that should be agriculture, and what should be the sustainable agriculture. So it's a kind of these interesting farmers you deal with, that you understand that they really are farmers in the concept of we need to understand the soil, the environment, all these kind of interactions, and the mixture, the trick is in the mixture, in the complexity, and you have to deal with it. Complexity is all over. Agroforestry is, it's a complex system, as we are. I mean, I'm complex, you are complex, everybody's complex. All the relationships are complex, humans are complex, also nature, and you have to deal with it. There's nothing simple in nature, well, simple in terms of interaction. So farmers are really, you know, they are philosophers of nature, which are really nice to work with them, and we work with them.